The second thing is to stop engaging in the emotional tug of war. Listen, if he's still involved in the affair, he's likely caught in a fantasy. He's living in what I call the infidelity bubble, and that's one that thrives on drama, secrecy, and emotional confusion. He really isn't living in reality right now. When you stop participating in the emotional chaos, it actually forces him to face reality. Hey, beautiful. Are you done with the pain, devastation, and overwhelm that marital betrayal has thrown at you? And you need a real roadmap to recovery. And you also desire to heal God's way. Well, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Lisa, a betrayal trauma and infidelity recovery specialist who went from being crushed and humiliated by my own husband's affair to a global sought-after recovery specialist, helping Christian women and couples just like you heal and recover from the devastation of marital betrayal, all while doing it God's way. Are you ready to dive in? I know I am. So, grab your favorite latte, maybe a glass of wine, snuggle up with your favorite blanket on the couch, and let's focus on you right now. Let's do this, beautiful. Hey, beautiful. Welcome back to the Beauty Beyond Betrayal podcast. I am so glad you've decided to join me for one more. And today's topic is one that I know weighs very, very heavy on many of you. What do you do when your husband refuses to end the affair? Beautiful, I want you to know I was there. And I was there for quite a while. I wrestled with this, and believe me, it weighed very, very heavy on me. Well, I've heard you. I know that you've prayed. I know that you've been pleading. I know that you've been wondering, what in the world are you going to do? You've cried more tears than you can count. How do I know? Because I did. And yet, your husband is still choosing the affair over your marriage right now. I understand where you are. That's exactly what my husband did for a year and a half after I found out about his affair. Yes, he did. I actually moved out. We physically separated. I was living in a small apartment. And during that time, he continued to lie. He continued to deceive. He continued to vacillate back and forth between me and the affair person. And it was a year and a half long of just ordeal. And the trauma ended me in a hospital stay. So I know where you are, and I know how devastating this can be. Now, where does this leave you? What can you do? And just as importantly, what can't you do? So sis, I hear you, and this is for you today. I want you to know this. You're not powerless, and you're not alone. And this is not the end of your story. So I want you to grab your pen and paper, and I want you to snuggle up on the couch. I really want you to focus on you. I want you to take some notes. Grab your favorite beverage. And we're going to dive in. And we're going to talk about your next steps, what they should be. And when your husband doesn't end the affair, or he won't end the affair, what is it that you need to do? So the very first thing that I would love to talk to you about is what you can't do. And why it's not your job to fix him. Did you hear that? I hope you did. It's not your job to fix him. You can't, beautiful. There's no way. No more than he can fix you. No more than you can fix anyone else. We weren't designed to fix someone else. So first, let's get something straight. You cannot force him to end the affair. Listen, I tried. I'm coming to you today from real life experience, okay? I tried. I begged. I pleaded. I groveled. I told him I would forgive him, Johnny on the spot. I did all the things. I tried having more sex with him. I tried pacifying him just to, boost his ego. Whatever I thought that she might be doing, I tried to do. It didn't work. You can't force him to end the affair. And again, no amount of pleading, convincing, or even anger will change a heart that isn't willing. You see, he's got to be willing to have his heart changed. So what do you need to do? Well, I want to give you what you need to release today. There are 3 things. The first thing you need to release is the fact that you can't control his choices. And that's truth. Free will is real. And while his choices are devastating, they are his and his to own. He's making the wrong choices. That's his responsibility. That's not on you. They're not yours to carry, beautiful. So recognize that and release it. Recognize his poor choices are his responsibility, and you can't change that. Number 2, you can't be good enough to make him stop. Remember, I just told you, I tried all those things. It didn't work. And you can't be good enough. And I'm not saying that you're not good enough. Hear me loud and clear on that. That's not what I'm saying here. You are more than good enough. You really are. You are worth more than what you are experiencing right now. But trying to make yourself better to please him, i.e., changing your hairstyle, changing your appearance by going and getting all the things, losing a lot of weight, trying to exercise yourself to where you're just ragged and worn out. I did all those things, right? It's not going to work. Why? Because this isn't about you not being enough. The affair, and hear me loud and clear, beautiful. The affair is about his brokenness, not your worth. Let me say that again. The affair is about his brokenness, not your worth. There is something deep within him innately off kilter. He needs to search that out with a good coach, a good counselor, someone who can lead him in this so he can dive deep into the why behind his decision to cross his own moral boundaries, to traumatize you in the way he did, to break trust, to break his vows, and to choose something so sinful. He needs to deep dive into that. And you trying to be, quote, good enough is not going to change that until he's willing and ready. You are already good enough. Again, it wasn't about you. It was about his brokenness. Number 3 is this. You can't stay stuck in the cycle of hoping without action. Hope deferred makes the heart sick. Yes, you do need hope. But you also need action. You see, hope is powerful. It really is. But if it's not paired with boundaries and wisdom, it can keep you trapped in a very unhealthy pattern. So does this mean that you just sit back and do nothing? No, that's not what I'm saying. Absolutely not. That leads us to the powerful part of what I have next for you, and that is what you can do. Beautiful, standing firm in truth and protecting your heart is what you can do. Now, I have a few things underneath that I want to give to you, and there are 4. These are the things that you can actually do for yourself so that you're not just sitting in hope without action. These are actually your action steps. So the first one is to set firm, God-honoring boundaries. Now remember, boundaries are not to control him. They're about protecting you. And sometimes those boundaries mean that you have to set some like I did and say, okay, if you're going to continue with the affair person, that means you no longer have access to me. We're separating. And you take that physical time out from one another. You have that therapeutic separation, giving him the chance to actually wake up from the infidelity bubble, actually experience what it's like to not have you there, and the possibility of losing you long term. That is a wake-up call for many. And so that might be something that you might need to actually explore, is a therapeutic separation. And I help you actually with those inside of my coaching programs. I walk many women through a therapeutic separation, and many times it has saved many, many marriages. So if you're wondering about that, if you are dealing with this currently, everything we're talking about today, below in the show notes, get yourself a free consult. Let's talk about where you currently are, where you desire to be, and the plan to get you there. We can get you on the roadmap to healing God's way and get you to a place you desire. Okay, so remember, boundaries are not about controlling him, but they're about protecting you. And this, again, might mean a physical separation, a clear requirement for him to end all the contact with the affair person, or even seek legal counsel if necessary. I had to do that. Mine actually went as far as filing for divorce, and he was getting ready to be served. That's what burst the infidelity bubble for my husband. Remember this, beautiful. Love without truth enables sin. I'm going to say that again. Love without truth enables sin. And truth without love wounds the heart. You need both. All right, the second one is stop engaging in the emotional tug of war. Listen, if he's still involved in the affair, he's likely caught in a fantasy. Like I said, he's living inside of that infidelity bubble. And this is where it thrives on drama, secrecy, and emotional confusion. He's not living in reality. And until he is willing to wake up from that infidelity bubble, you're not going to be able to force him or do anything to manipulate him otherwise. When you stop participating in the emotional chaos, it forces him to finally face reality and possibly wake up from that infidelity bubble. I refused to continue participating in the emotional chaos that my husband was putting me through. The ups and downs of not knowing from one day or another, was he back talking to her? Was he back in her bed? Where was he? Time and time again, I was dealing with this month after month after month. I would give him a chance. He would come back, swear to me he had ended it, and then I would find out 6 weeks later that he was back with her again. So I stopped the emotional chaos. And what did it do? Well, when he found out he was going to be served papers for divorce, it burst the bubble, and it forced him to face the reality that he was getting ready to lose what he had in what God had blessed him with in our marriage all along ago. He was getting ready to lose that. Now, I didn't play my card just to see if it would work. I literally was stopping the chaos that I was living in. I had to, because it was absolutely destroying my mental and emotional and physical health. And so I decided to put a stop to it. Now, gratefully, my husband woke up. He allowed God to get a hold of his heart, and he truly transformed from the inside out. Does it always happen? No. I'm not going to mince words, and I'm going to be honest and truthful with you. It doesn't always happen. But there's a greater chance when we don't put up with the chaos any longer. Now, number 3 is this. Lean into God, not just your husband's potential. Listen, we can desire to be with them based upon what we know to be their potential. But unless they're willing to walk in their potential, that's a losing battle. So many women say, but I know deep down he's a good man. I hear it day in and day out. I said it myself. And that may be true, but right now, if he's still in the affair, he's not walking in that truth. So right now, he's not a good man. Not by any means. He is a sinful man, and we need to call it as it is. Your hope must be in God, not in what your husband might do. God is the only one who can change hearts. And if your husband is not willing to allow God in, then that won't happen. So the best thing for you to do right now is to pray that whatever it takes, that God would do whatever whatever, and I mean whatever it takes to change your husband's heart. That was the prayer that I prayed for my husband. God, make him miserable. Yes, I did pray that. God, make him miserable while he's living in sin, and do whatever you must to save him and to change his heart. And I knew that literally was taking him off of my hook and putting him onto God's. And that was the best place he could be, because his soul at the end of the day was all that mattered. And beautiful, sometimes we have to face that reality. The fourth one is to surround yourself with wise, godly support. Listen, isolation is one of the enemy's greatest weapons against betrayed wives. He wants you to stay isolated. Why? Because he knows if you stay isolated, you're not going to heal. You're going to stay traumatized. Thus, you're not going to reach your full potential. So you need support from other women who understand your pain, who will encourage you in truth and remind you that you are worth more than waiting in agony. And beautiful, I have a free coaching group on Facebook. And below in the show notes, you can join it. It's the Sisterhood. I would love to see you there. It's a great place to get started. And there, you'll find out about my roadmap to recovery. Healing from Marital Betrayal God's Way. This is my paid group coaching program. And this is an excellent place to actually heal with a sisterhood of women who understand you, who are going through the same thing, and we encourage each other in our healing journey, and we actually heal together. Now, when do you know when to stand and when to step back? I know some of you are probably wondering that. Should I keep fighting for my marriage, or is it time to step away? I hear it all the time. Should I stay or should I go, Lisa? Well, here's the simple truth to guide you. If he is actually showing signs of true repentance, what I mean by that is he's cutting off the affair. He's seeking help. He's committing to change. You actually see his actions matching up with his words. Then you can stand in faith and begin the process of healing your relationship. But if he continues to lie, to manipulate, to gaslight, to blame shift, to refuse to change, you may need to step back and protect yourself. Like I said earlier, maybe even to enter into a therapeutic separation. Now, hear me loud and clear on this, beautiful. This is not a lack of faith. It's actually wisdom. Proverbs 4:23 tells us to guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. Now, that is wise. That doesn't mean to wall your heart off and to be closed to everything. No. It's to be wise in your decisions so that your heart doesn't continue to be broken time and time again by his sin that he's currently living in. God doesn't call us to stay in a sinful situation. He doesn't call us to condone their sin either. He calls us to stand firm against the sinful things in life and to call it out in love, hopefully rescuing them from the flames of hell. Now, I know that this isn't easy. Walking through betrayal when your husband refuses to end the affair is heartbreaking, to say the least. But beautiful, you're not called to walk this road alone, and you deserve support. You deserve healing, and you deserve to know that no matter what he chooses, your future is still in God's hands. God will heal you regardless of whether your marriage heals or not. That's why I created the Roadmap to Recovery, Healing from Marital Betrayal God's Way. This is my group coaching program, my 6-month program, where, you're going to get step-by-step guidance, biblical truth, and community support that you need to navigate this system and this season with wisdom, confidence, and grace. So, below in the show notes, you've got a link. Click on it. Go check out the information. And if you want to really kind of ask me some questions on this, you can either email me. The email address is below in the show notes. You can send me a speak pipe where it says ask me. You can actually voice record the message and I'll get back with you. Or if you want to have a 20-minute consult with me, it's free. Let's grab a consult. Let's talk this through and see what your best options are. So beautiful, I pray today helped you. And I pray you found some encouragement out of it. And I pray you put these practices into action so that you don't stay stuck in the pain of his betrayal. So until next time, keep holding on to truth, keep guarding your heart, and know that God is fighting for you. And I'll see you next time in the Beauty Beyond Betrayal podcast. Thanks for stopping by and spending a little time with me today. I hope you enjoyed today's show and you found hope, healing, and encouragement. Please remember to subscribe to my podcast and leave a review. You can even screenshot this episode. You can share it out on Facebook and IG stories. This is how we get the message of hope and healing out to all women and couples who are in need of restoration after betrayal. And if you're ready to move out of that devastation and take the next step in your healing journey, well, make sure to reach out. Schedule your coaching session today. Until next time, love God, live your life passionately, and always choose joy in the midst of any circumstance that you may face. Cheers to you, beautiful.